Okay, having a look at this question 2, where we've got velocity is equal to 6 minus 2t squared, and we have been told that t is greater than 0, v is in meters per second, and we want to find the values for t for which the velocity is positive. So we can graph that on our calculator. When we graph it, I've put in a window between negative 10 and 10, and we can see that it is coming up and down. So when the velocity is positive, it's over 0, so it's above the line, and we can see that it is between those 2 points there. We're told in the question that it's just for when t is greater than 0, so we really only want this section between 0 and wherever it cuts the axis there. So if I change my window to only between 0 and 10, then I can use my second trace to get my 0, so where it's going to cut the axis. So I'm going to go between 0 and 10, and I've got it here at 1.732. So obviously that's a decimal. I might want to try and solve that algebraically. So if I want to solve it algebraically, I'm using my function here of v is equal to 6 minus 2t squared. So I'm wanting to find out when it's equal to 0, because that's that turning point that I saw on there, and then on the other side of that, that's where it is. I'm looking for that section of it. So I'm trying to find out where that 0 is based on this. So that will be my section where it is cutting the graph here. I already know it's going to cut, like that section is 0 there. If I change my window, I know that the other time that it's going to be 0 is over here. So here are my two zeros. This is where it's turning, so I know this is my section that I'm looking at from 0 onwards, and I need to find out what this value is there. So when I solve it, I should get these two values, but I'll only want the positive one of it. So I'm going to put in 0 equals 6 minus 2t squared. I'm going to take my 6 over to the other side, negative 2t squared, divide by negative 2, so I get 3 is equal to t squared, and then I can do the square root of 3 is equal to t. So that means it really is the positive or negative of that. But given our question telling us that t is greater than 0, I know that t is going to equal the square root of 3. Now, when I did that on my calculator, I got that 1.7. If I did the square root of 3 just on my calculator, you'll see that is that 1.73 that I got when I used my calculator to find that point where it, the 0 on the graph. So we know that that is where it is going to stop being positive and start being negative, where it's cutting that x-axis. So I know that it is going to be between 0 and root 3. So when t is less than root 3 and greater than 0, that's when the velocity is going to be positive. So obviously we can observe that on our graph. We can also solve it algebraically.